What up, guys? Big Uncle Zach here down at Never Again Studios, the luxurious, beautiful Never Again Studios. And I have a guest today. It's third one back, and we already have a guest. And her name is Deanna Seipel, and she's one of my purple belts, and her whole family trained jiu-jitsu over at Finishers MMA, and she's a successful businesswoman already. So this is what I wanted to bring the podcast back for, is to talk to people, get ideas and all this stuff. So thank you so much for coming on this beautiful Wednesday.
Thank you. No, I'm super hyped to be here. Like, you're one of the people that I respect so much, like not just your jiu-jitsu, but just your business. Like, you've made something so incredible. So I'm like super hyped to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's been a crazy ride, like doing stuff like entrepreneurial stuff, because I've never, you know, I've never run a business before this.
Right.
I was going to school, I was doing the whole college thing, and I didn't really know where I wanted to go. But I also knew that I didn't want to just work a regular job.
Right.
You know, I was like, this is, you know, I know I have a talent for this, and I know I've been doing this for a long time, so I got experience, which a lot of people don't have. So I was like, you know what, I should just try to get into this 100%. A couple things went haywire in my life at a certain point, and then I was able to kind of just have an open book to be able to do whatever I wanted to. So
right.
that's how I ended up getting into it and doing like my own business type thing. So and then, you know, once you guys started the school, like you're like, hey, you know, I remember you telling me, like, if you ever need anyone to like shoot photography or anything like that come through, I'm like, yes, we do. We can't have enough photographers. And then you and Bill helped out so much at the tournaments and stuff all the time. And, you know, you have some really epic pictures that I'll never forget that are of me when I competed my last competition. Yeah.
Yes, that was such an incredible experience. Being there was first of all, the tournaments that you guys put on are like incredible. Like, not just because I know a lot of the people competing there, but they're so well run. They're fun. They're super exciting. So being there, because that was a quintet, right?
Yep, that was a team event.
Team event. I'm sorry.
No, it's quintet. You're right.
So being there, it was like so super awesome, and just the way it panned out, where the guy called you out to do the last one.
I know.
And then you go, and then you got the arm triangle, and everybody's watching it, and I'm like sitting there, like almost throwing my camera down on the ground, but at the same time, like, oh my gosh! And then when you finished it, it was like incredible, and then like you made the announcement that you were like retiring, and it was like one of those things where like you put your rash guard down on the ground and you were staying there and you just like had this monumental thing, and I like saw it. I'm like, this is everything, and just capturing that, it was like,
I
like
teared
such an
up,
awesome thing.
I was crying. I was definitely tearing up that day. That was crazy. And yeah, I can't, that picture will live for me, you know what I mean? Like that one means a lot to me, you know? And there were also some great pictures that you took of like after I'd won, like I just kind of rolled over and I like put my hands in my head in my hands. I was like, oh man, they're coming. I could see them already coming out of the corner to rush me. And like Zach Edwards was there, and he like picked me up, and they're like, no, you're not hiding. You're like, we got to celebrate. And like there were some awesome pictures of like him hugging me and like, you know, shaking my hand and stuff. And you know, that was really cool. Like I'll never forget that. And like, yeah.
That's why photography is so amazing. Just, you know, capturing that moment with you, and, you know, anybody who does know or who doesn't know, Zach Edwards was such just an incredible person. He was just this towering, commanding figure. And as a woman starting jiu-jitsu, when I started training with you guys, I was very new. I had only been training like 8 months. And at a traditional gi school where there's no heel hooks and everything, and obviously Zach Edwards.
I thought you guys trained longer than that.
No. We started. We were like, no, I'm sorry. 8 months was something. It doesn't matter. Something around our first year. But Zach was like so welcoming and everything. He was such like an awesome guy, and you know, unfortunately, he passed away to cancer. But like even little things like at the one tournament where I'll never forget it, Zach was waiting for his opponent, and his opponent never showed up.
Another one.
And that's
another
when
classic photo. Yeah.
Laura was posting it, and she said he won by intimidation.
Yeah.
And I captured the image. He's just sitting there in a sumo squat with his hands up, and like I captured it. And it's like just stuff like that. Photography is so cool because like obviously it's nice that it pays well. Like I'm able to support my family, but you know, you go into it thinking like I'm just going to capture like happy memories or cool memories, but then every once in a while like someone will touch your life, and then, you know, tragedy happens, but you like have those images. You
Yeah.
have those images. You go back and like you can feel Zach's personality, Zach Edwards' personality, like coming out
Through
in that image. Yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Those
very cool.
those are some epic ones. That was at the Finishers 10, and the other one was at the the team event, the first time we did the Survivor Series, and they were just like weird, like things happen, and you're never sure exactly like what you're going to get when you go there. But like, that could have easily been moments missed, or just like the one of him with his hands out. Have you ever seen that one, Mike?
Yeah.
Where Zach is, it's just like, like they've used that for so many memes already. Like, hey, when your opponent doesn't show up, you're like, I don't know. Or you're like, where's the, it's always, they've memed that one a whole bunch. And, and another thing I noticed, like when, so Quentin, he filmed a lot. We always have Juliana and Quentin are always working with us too. So we have like a whole team of media team. Then you got Ross and, the computer guys and all that stuff. And then, but there was, so his video, like I can, like he's video recording also, like when I put my shirt down and all this stuff, and he's walking around, and he's getting like another, like, cause there's a live stream, and then there's like maybe someone with their phone, but then like he's getting another view of it through like whatever Quentin sees.
Yes.
And then in his video a few times, I can see you running over, you know what I mean? And fixing it up and taking a picture. And I'm like, damn, that's because in my mind, like when something crazy happens, I forget. Like I'll be like, when I'm locked in and shit, and like it's like tournaments or whatever, I'm paying attention so much that I'll like lose my phone, wallet, forget to call everybody, and I'm like, oh no, where's all my stuff? You know what I mean? Because I'm so locked in. I've done that. You can ask people. I've done that so many times. I've seen other people do that where they're just like, wait a minute, like I was so locked in thinking about it, like I would have probably just missed. This is why you're the professional, but I probably would have just missed that whole thing, or just been like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, like you were right there. Just, that's a different kind of, that's how we call photography and all these different things are an art.
You're right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
Like all the stuff that Mike does, like all the stuff that we're doing, like it's a creative, which is to me really cool. Like to be in that thing. Like I noticed working with and for Flow Grappling, like they have different sectors of people. There's like, okay, here's the marketing crew, here's the like IT crew, and like those dudes are just at home chilling, like on computers, just typing shit, fixing things, like fixing passwords and all types of stuff. Then you got the other crew, the creative crew, that those people are like, your who's coming up with ideas for tournaments, who's coming up with matches, who's coming up with, and this encompasses so much because creative could be really anything. I feel, there's so many different things you can do with it. Like, how do you bring up, and you can tell, like looking at your photographs and Quentin's and Juliana's and everybody's together, just has all of them have their own different feel to it, you know what I mean? And it's weird, like to me, I think about it, I was like, dude, aren't they using the same, it's a different camera and it's all this different stuff that goes into it. And like I said, that's why I really like that, style of, entrepreneurship. Like not just I run a business that sells things and buy things and sell things, like that's why I think me and Mike connect a lot, because it's like a creative thing,
right? Well, and you're touching people's lives.
Yeah, completely different.
Like it's one thing if you're just selling tangible goods that if you don't sell it, just somebody else is going to sell it. Like it doesn't mean anything. But like photography, for example, like it's very, very personal. Like you're giving somebody a tangible memory that not only will they have, their grandchildren will have. Yeah. Like one day, your son Lorenzo is going to be able to see the day daddy retired and like feel those emotions. And I imagine, it's got to be similar with jiu-jitsu. Like as a person who, I didn't do anything before jiu-jitsu. I would like work out, but I was never in a sport. Like I grew up in the 90s. Like I was a cheerleader. Like girls didn't wrestle. Like it just wasn't a thing. And then when my husband started it for work and he really like encouraged me to do it, like I was like, that's not for me. That's not my thing. That's whatever. And like my husband put it best. He's like, you found something that you never knew you needed, and like it sounds stupid, but you probably hear it all the time. Like jiu-jitsu changed my life. Like it's like everything. Like it's I've done things in my life that were like terrifying mentally, but just in jiu-jitsu, you do stuff terrifying mentally, like every round. Like
Yeah, I know.
every round, you're doing something that's mentally terrifying, and you just it gives you something inside of you that you didn't know you have. So it's got to be like, while having a business is always going to be challenging, like it has to be like rewarding being able to run a business that does so much for so many.
Yeah, sometimes I forget sometimes how much people are, just thankful for training and stuff. And I know a lot of guys, and girls too, like they just don't, it's not just that they want to do it, or it's like a thing that they do and they're selfish about it, but they need to.
Right.
They might not necessarily need to fight, or, a lot of guys are, how it is, guys come in, they want to fight right away or do competitions or whatever. But I try to talk most people out of it. I'm like, yo, you don't have to compete if you don't want to. I'm not going to think anything less of you or anything like that. But, you've competed, like Bill's competed, like the kids have all competed and they've done well. And it's really just, and it's corny, but it is just against yourself. It's like,
right.
Nobody cares if you lose a match or whatever. Like people might talk some shit on like the guys at the top level, but who really, you lost the match, so what? I've used that in one of my speeches one time. Like, I was like, if the worst thing that's happening to you, if you're losing jiu-jitsu matches in your life, you're doing pretty good, because there's a lot of people who got a lot of problems, that a lot of things that are going wrong for them, and they don't even have the opportunity to train jiu-jitsu, let alone, be mad because they lost a match or something stupid like that. But it is really rewarding. It is cool to see, people like change their lives or like meet someone else, or
yes.
like, just the whole camaraderie of it and everything, and, doing crazy stuff all the time. I feel like doing MMA and competing and stuff has definitely leveled me off to where, like, when crazy things happen or bad things happen, I don't just, my anxiety isn't going to take over. I might just be like, all right, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about it this second, so we're just going to have to just continually live life and just keep chugging along and then see what happens, And
yeah, like I have, I know, this day and age, boys and girls are like the same, blah, 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 blah. But like, I'm probably fairly stereotypical female, right? So I'm not worried about like getting into fights. So I never have to deal like with like the tip, like jiu-jitsu is a male dominated sport, like it just is. So I'm not dealing with a lot of the anxieties, that maybe some of the other guys are. But like, even as a girl, like there's things I've done that are terrifying, and they could be stupid stuff. Like I have an irrational fear of drowning. I don't know why. I've never come close to drowning, right? Like just a stupid irrational fear of drowning.
I'm not trying to drown though either.
But it's just like, or I did something in my town where like I had to run for something, and it's so amazing to me that I was able to make it so far in my life, and just, you go up against stuff and you're like, I don't know if I want to do it. And then just doing this sport where you're constantly needing to humble yourself, but then seeing, but like, okay, so what? Like, you didn't die.
Yeah.
You didn't die. You came on top of it, and it just gives you like this different self-awareness and confidence. Like my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's very, very much like me. So when I was younger, like I never tried to fit in, like I just always was who I was. And in middle school, like people would tease me unmercifully, like whatever. And my daughter Holly was the same way, and she started training jiu-jitsu, and I felt terrible. Like it was nonstop every day, the same girls every day. She'd come home crying, like I don't know why there's so many.
Girls are worse too against each other.
Oh, the
when
worst.
They're younger, yeah.
So she started training, and she started getting really into it, and like she was able to meet like some of the amazing women like Chrissy Briggs and see it. So the one day she gets on the bus, and the same girl starts in on her. So she comes home from school, and she's like, you know what, Mom? She was doing it to me again. And I just sat there and I was like, you know what? I thought to myself, if I wanted to,
yeah,
I could choke you out. I'm not going to, but I could. And she says, and then it just didn't seem to bother me that much anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just like, not even like for adults, but just like for kids. Like I think I may have even told you this. Like you have my gratitude for the rest of my life. Like you gave me my daughter back. Like public school wore my child down. Like public school was, all year long, constantly beating her down, because she struggles academically. Like she's very artistic. She enjoys athletics, but like academically she struggled. She never tried to fit in, so the girls would, just whatever to her. So it was like kindergarten through 7th grade, just constantly, kindergarten through 6th grade rather, beating her down every day of her life. Then she started training jiu-jitsu, and she's surrounded by incredible people who want to do nothing but see her succeed, lift her up, give her confidence. And like, you gave me my daughter back. Like, nice. How could you can't repay something like that.
Thanks. I just doing what I'm supposed to do, but I feel like, that's what martial arts, when it works the right way, it could really do something like that for someone. I mean, think about it. She's seeing all these other, tough, women that are a little bit different too. Like, let's be honest, like Grace isn't like your normal,
right,
run of the mill girl or whatever. And then you got other girls in there that are, beautiful women too, that are older, that are strong and in shape, that are in their training. And then you got, some other girls that are like, a little bit different too. Like they're at jiu-jitsu because they're the one who's, not exactly hanging out, just doing what every other kid does and playing video games or whatever,
Not just sitting there trying to look cute on Instagram, trying to see how she could get thigh gap. Yeah. Like, my daughter's just not about that. And that was one of the things, like, so you go to school, you see the typical girls, you go on social media, you see the social media girls, and like that's all young girls see. And then you go train jiu-jitsu and you see somebody like Grace, who's like a phenom, but doesn't fit into that stereotype. And then you see people like Chrissy Briggs and like Laura, like, who are absolute killers, but then like embrace, like, when they want to embrace that feminine side, they do, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they're killers. So just like, at least for a young girl, seeing like you don't have to fit the mold.
Like remember Fionn came to the school then?
Oh, my daughter loves Fionn.
Yeah. So that's another person right there. I mean, it's just, the society just beats you down with what they think, especially, man, social media is nuts. Like when I go through my phone, like on the reels, like when you have suggested reels, like my suggested reels are, fight stuff and like, jiu-jitsu, whatever. But then it's like, it's pretty racy, borderline pornographic shit on it. And it's like, this is on my Instagram. You know what I mean? I don't want to be rolling through that and like, my cat or my wife's like looking over on top, be like, what the hell are you looking at? But it's like, if you just swipe through it, that's there. What it is. Yeah, it's what it literally is. So like, imagine, I'm almost 40 years old, but imagine what a young kid who has a phone like that, you can literally, because I didn't think that was allowed on Instagram, but now like it's pretty much whatever. It seems like to me, from what I've seen, they could literally put anything they want on it. So that's messing kids up.
Yeah, for 100%, 100%.
I really wish that I could just, and this this one rapper, Tony Yayo, he would always talk about, he was one of 50 Cent's guys.
Okay.
And this is back in, I don't know what year, whatever the G Unit was out, but
he always had to be like early 2000s, right?
Yeah. That's when I was in high school. So one of the best lines he ever said was, I just want to make a cool million and then vanish in thin air. And like, that's what I would love to do. Like if I could just, make a whole bunch of money somehow at once, then I would just delete all my social media. You'd never see me again. Maybe I would do like a podcast, no video, just from like the mountain somewhere, while me and my son are wrestling bears or something. You know what I mean? But I would quit all of that shit. I honestly would. And people would probably deny that because, how much I'm on social media and how much I got like 5 Instagrams and all these different things.
But it's part of your business.
Unfortunately, it is. If I didn't make money from all these random things, I wouldn't do it.
Right. And
you know what I mean?
The more and more I work, and like I have a podcast as well, and unfortunately, like through like jiu-jitsu and just my line of work, like I'm able to meet like very, very interesting people, and one of the thing that like talking to successful people or people who have gone through their way, and just like I've noticed in my own life when I was younger, like I thought I just wanted to make a lot of money, like I thought like I wanted money, and the more and more I work and the more I talk to people, like I don't want money, like I want peace and contentment and happiness.
Exactly. Yeah,
and
that's
it's
a good
like
way to put it.
I used to, so for my company, I used to run my company and shoot every single job for my company, and it like got to be too much because there wasn't any balance, right? Like it was working 7 days a week, and then like I'll deal with the kids, and my husband like when I can. And I like had to reevaluate and take a step back and be like, all right, right. I have to, like, I have good people, like I have to be able to like delegate. And like I made a little bit less money at first, but my quality of life was so much better. And it was like everything, right? Like, because what good is all that money if you can't spend
Balance,
it?
yeah. Yeah, I do know a lot of people. I do know a couple of guys who have that kind of issue where they're making out very well, but it doesn't seem like their life is one that I would want to live anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like they do get to travel and stuff, but it just seems like they're just so busy. And I know how it is just being me. And I'm not that busy, but I mean, there's a lot of things that got to get done. And honestly, sometimes I just don't feel like doing it.
100%.
There's shit where I'm just like, I'm not, man. I need to take a mental, break from this.
Right.
Go train or something. But then the problem is I can only train so much because my body has been, you know what I mean, felt like been put
Because
through
your
the
back
washer.
is an S.
Yeah, that's part of it. And then so I it's hard to, like, I would do that every day. I got to get back to like lifting consistently and stuff like that too. But you're right though. There's got to be a good balance, and that's really what I could care less how much money it is, but just having to be able to, okay, I'm shutting down for this weekend or whatever it is, I want to be able to do that one day.
Right.
For like really shut down. Like now I will, like, I take off, I'm off Saturdays and Sundays. I don't come in on Tuesday. I don't come in on Thursday. So there's a lot of days that I have, but I'm a lot of times
that's a tricky
I'm
thing.
working from though.
Right.
So
If it's your business, even when you're off, you're not
You're
off,
on,
right?
yeah.
Because like I remember it was one of my daughters, when one of my daughters was born. I was in the hospital, right? So like she was about to be born. She wasn't born yet. So like anybody who's listening, like when women go into the hospital, it's not like on the movies, right? Like there's downtime where
Yeah.
you're like waiting, right? So I had brought my laptop and I was working on wedding albums, and the nurse came over. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like,
Working,
somebody needs their wedding album." She's like, "You're in labor," and I'm like, if I don't do it, who's going to
Yeah,
do it?
I
So
know.
it's like an insane blessing. Like my kids, like I'm able to do stuff. I homeschool 2 or 3 of my kids, and one of my daughters, because she's a homeschooler, she's able to go to Polytech art school.
Nice.
She's able to go earlier, Holly.
Yeah.
But like I have to provide transportation. So like my kids have incredible opportunities. Jiu-jitsu. I'm able to drive my kids 45 minutes out to Pennsylvania to go train at a school that I really respect, when honestly, and this isn't saying anything bad to the schools around me, but there's like 5 schools within a stone's throw of where I live. But I like you guys. Like I like what you do, so I'm able to drive my kids 45 minutes into Pennsylvania because of my work schedule, because I set my work schedule. So it's like an incredible blessing, but like even when you're off, you're on.
You're on, yeah. I know. I see so many parents sitting in our lobby area or in our cafeteria just working on laptops or
Yes.
sitting there like, I know, or like ask me like, where's a plug? They're always plugging in and doing stuff or whatever. So, and I love that about the dojo. I love people can just come into the cafeteria there and sit up and work. But here's a good question for you. This is one thing I struggle with. So do you, because I know you have editing to do, and I'm sure there's booking and emails and then social media. So do you, now I have a lot of people. I have guys, Ashawn, and I have Laura, Sid, and some of the other guys helping me with the social media. And I'm going to start onboarding Jimmy. I said onboarding. That's a new thing. I'm going to start onboarding Jimmy and some of the other guys like onto like the Instagram and all that stuff, so they can also be posting stuff. So it's not always just me.
Right.
Laura already does it. She helps me with the finisher sub only. Like she's killing it, making matchups for like several different tournaments and stuff. She's a beast. If I wouldn't have her, I'd be dead. With a lot of the people, I'd be dead if I wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like honestly, if I didn't have Mike, I'd be dead. But we just keep going back and forth on stuff. But how do you like? Do you say like, okay, I'm going to work from 10 to 1 and then I'm not going to work this time, or I'm not going to answer my phone, or like, how do you go about that? Because that's a question I like to ask everybody, because something like me and Mike, we'll just both of us be just knocking on shit all day, right? Until I have to just be like, all right, I'm taking a break,
Yeah, I'm the same actually. I was just telling Mike before you got here. There's a lot of things that I have to do and a lot of things I like to do, like fitness and jiu-jitsu is very important to me. So I have to do work. I feel like for me, I need to do jiu-jitsu, and then I have to cross train, like I have to weight train so I don't get injured. So I actually have to wake up at like 4:35 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I could get stuff done. But because like of those opportunities my kids have and stuff, I wake up, and after I read the Bible, I try to like journal and like write out my day. And if you look at my day, like it's in blocks. Like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to work on this. Then I'm gonna try to teach Sarah math. Then I'm gonna get. So my day, like, it's not like mornings are for work, afternoons are for kids, and then evenings are dinners. It's like I'll set something up and I'll try to stick to it. But like you can ask Bill, my husband Bill, it's if a phone call comes in and it's a girl possibly wanting to book and like we're about to have dinner, I'm not gonna turn down, you know, a very healthy payday because I'm like, we're eating dinner in 5 minutes. Like, it's just, I mean, I could, but, you know, people like when you answer the phone. So I actually do like the same thing. Like, I'm never really not working. Like, we'll be sitting on the couch at night, like about to fall asleep. And like a text message will come in from a bride and she's like, oh, the link isn't working. Actually, last night we went and trained at my friend's gym. And in the car, Bill's driving, like he finally got my husband. And as we're driving, I'm logging onto the website and updating the link for her.
I know, believe me.
Because it's like, I could set hours for myself, but I feel like the industry that I'm in is so competitive and people like it when they can talk to you, right? Like, I hate it. I hate if I pick up the phone and I can't talk to somebody. It drives me insane. So I try to provide to people what I would want. So I'm pretty much always available. Not necessarily sitting down at a desk working, but like a girl could text me and I'm gonna get back to her.
That's I think that's a tough one that I struggle with, is just figuring out to, you know, because I am working all day and I'm working on stuff and I'm updating, you know, whatever Instagram posts or talking to somebody or trying to like get a deal going. And sometimes it's important to be quick and talking to people and not just be like, hey, I'm off, you know. But I try to do like at night. And this probably isn't the greatest, but not always before I go to bed, but like before I like really relax, so I'm not just relaxing and just on my phone nonstop, I'll try to just roll through like all messages. Like I'll get out a piece of paper and then I'll go through like, okay, this, because sometimes it requires me, like whatever the person just said, it might require me to like log into another document or like go on to something and do something. So I'm like, damn it. I'm like, well, I'm just going to make a list, you know? So I'll be like, oh, this guy wants a match. Okay. Oh, this guy wants me to sponsor this thing. Okay. And then this guy, and then I'll write that whole list down and then I'll just be like, all right, what can I do real quick? And I'll boom, 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 knock those out, messages sent. And then I'm like, okay, this is waiting till tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
I do something similar. Like when I'm again, we have a fairly traditional household. So like I try to like my husband has like a fairly stressful job. So I just try to like make it a pleasant experience for him when he comes home. So I will like try to wrap up stuff before he comes. So like I'll do the same type of thing. I'll like check my emails, make sure like there's nothing super urgent. And then I pretty much figure if somebody's just shooting me an email like at dinner time, they're not necessarily expecting me to get back to them. And that took me a long time to like come to grips with. Because for a long time, like I would check my email constantly and get back to everybody constantly. So I had to realize like, it's okay. Like people aren't expecting you to email them back at 9 o'clock at night. So unless it's like something that I feel is like important because a girl's texting me like, oh, I really want to do this. I'll do the same thing. Like I'll try to be like, okay, that's what needed to get done. Like the rest I could do tomorrow morning.
That's important. I think that's one thing that I really I definitely gives me a hard time. Like it stumps me up. I want to make sure that I, you know, and then there are times like when I'm watching my son, like I don't want to really be on the phone, you know, but sometimes I have to, you know, like my wife's in the other room and someone's calling me or whatever. And like, sometimes I'll answer it. I'll put him on FaceTime with him or whatever, just so he's entertained. But, I want to make sure that I just, okay, look, I'm going to be like tomorrow on Thursdays is fun because, my wife babysits and she watches like, my friend Steve's kids. And, what's cool about that is I'm home with Lorenzo all day. So once she leaves work in the morning at like 6 or like 7:15 ish. Then it's just me and him till about 5 p.m.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we're just having a good time. We'll go places sometimes. Sometimes we just chill at the house, go out back, whatever. But you know, I'll try to like be with him just in the morning. Like I'll be sending pictures of my wife and stuff all the time, but I'll try to make sure I'm just like, okay, I have a 3-hour block when he's taking a nap. Then I'm gonna not, you know, fool around. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna try to just. And there are times when I'm really motivated to where I'll just like knock out a million things and feel real good. But then, you know, I got to hang with him all morning where we didn't watch TV.
Right.
I wasn't on my phone all day. I was just, you know, me and him were like actually interacting and playing. And it's so much crazier. Like when he's just playing in the background, sometimes I'll check, but like, cause sometimes he just plays real well on his own and he just wants to play. And he'll get mad if I'm like, hey, check this out. Dad's doing this. He'll be like, ah. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Just chill then.
Well, it's funny.
You know?
People will comment to me a lot, like, "Oh my gosh, your children are so well behaved. Like they're not running around like maniacs." And they're like, "You must be such a great mother." And I'm like, no, it's not really that I'm a great mother. Like Sarah, especially my oldest Sarah, who just turned 9. As long as she has been a person who existed in the universe, I've worked from home. And like when I do all the editing, every single picture that leaves my studio, I hand edited. So I'm like very, very busy during the height of the season. And Sarah like just grew up like mommy is busy. And I used to set up the pantry. The snacks that she was allowed to eat, I'd put them on the bottom of the pantry, her juices, her snacks. And Sarah would wake up, I'd like get her breakfast, then I'd go to work. She'd get herself a snack. She'd get herself lunch, put her down for a nap when she was tired. And it was funny because like people compliment my mothering, and I'm like, it was actually like a lack of mothering.
They know what's up.
Yeah, like it just wasn't a thing in the world because like she had to do it.
Yeah.
Like and fortunately my husband and I like are on the same page with that. Like we're like very, very much into, if you can do something for yourself, do it for yourself. And nobody cares. Like, don't whine to me about a problem. That's not really a problem. So fortunately, like we're both on the same page with that. So it like definitely made it easier. Like, cause if you own your own business and you're working from home and you're doing all that stuff, like you gotta like tell your kids, like, go do something else now.
Yeah, I know. Oh, my dad would be doing it all the time. We'd always be bothering him and stuff. If he had to do work at home or something, he'd be getting hit in the head with a ball or something like that. And he'd be like, guys, his classic one was like, go play on Route 22. Stuff like that. He would always say things like that. He's like, that's it. I'm going to crack your heads together like eggs. I need 15 minutes to handle this. But I can't see, even with my son, I can't really, there's not much I can, because he's only 1.5.
Right.
But when he's just with me, it's funny though, because he'll like just play on his own for a while. You know, but then when my wife is home too, he's all over her, you know, he wants to be all mommy. But if she's not there, like me and him go upstairs, he'll play, I'll blink, I'll be like, dang, it's been 45 minutes. He's been up here just playing. It's just crazy. Like he reminds me of myself. He's got the wrestling figures.
He looks so much like you.
And he's like just going like this and hitting the guys, and he's going with the trains, and he's like, zzz. But he always checks, no matter what, he's always checks the things that he knows he can't do. So he'll walk into a room and he knows there's a cabinet that he's not supposed to touch. He'll just go over and be like, huh? Still can't get in there. All right. And then he'll just go over to the thing and he's like, anything up here that I can reach? He don't even see. I'm like, you can't even see what you're looking at. I was like, you just up there grabbing
just
it.
Testing those boundaries.
Now I give him a dog treat, and then he gives a treat to the dog. So like he's into that now.
He's so freaking cute.
Yeah, thanks. It's crazy. I didn't know whether I'd, eventually have kids, but I mean, now, just, it's such a blessing, and I want to have, we want to have another kid too. So, and that's really why I want to become successful now for them, like before it was cool. Like I was fine just being a jiu-jitsu bum, living in the back of the dojo and everything. And, I knew we were doing good, but I'm not like where I want to be. There's always striving for more. Like I don't want to be greedy or anything like that. Like, but
it's good to have aspirations.
Yeah, I want to keep doing better. And that's one of the reasons why I started the business coaching thing, because people were asking me a lot of questions about it. Guys and girls who already own jiu-jitsu schools and martial arts academies, and they wanted to ask me my advice. And I was giving my advice for free, which is cool. But then eventually, like, I started thinking about the time frames. Like there's only so much time in a day.
Right.
If I'm going to spend an hour on the phone with you, like let's do, like I have a phone call tonight with the guy, like after I get done training tonight, like I'm going to go, I have to leave. I think we have to cut it off in like maybe like 9-10 minutes, but I have to go from here. Not I have to. I get to. You know, I'm not like up doing some of the jobs I used to do, but I get to go to the gym now. I'm going to teach kids class 5 to 6, and then I'm going to teach an adult advanced class. And Wednesday is usually the most packed night because it's Wednesday, and it is my favorite class of the week. Like Thor's usually there.
It's
Sid
a great
is
class.
There. Grace is there.
That's when a lot of the girls visit too.
Yeah,
If a girl's gonna visit, they visit Wednesday.
Yeah,
night.
a lot of people visit on Wednesday. Wednesday's like a popular training day, you know, at every school usually, but ours gets us, you know, pretty packed on some nights, and it's fun. We've been doing 10-minute rounds. We've been doing a lot of live.
Yeah, the 10-minute rounds are like fire. They're like, it's like you get to really test yourself. Like, okay, can I pace myself? I tell myself I can, but can I?
You got to relax. I think it really helps for me, and not to give too much away, but one thing that I do a lot, especially when I'm rolling 10-minute rounds, and this especially for people who are rolling when you're getting older. You know, obviously, if you're a white belt or something, like, you know, you got to work your way up. But once you get to a certain point, what I do now, not to give too much away, but it doesn't matter anyways. But what I would do is in a 10-minute round, I would just play defense. So my defense got really good over the years because I didn't want to gas myself out, especially being someone smaller, right? I can't just powerhouse every guy for 30 minutes straight, especially when kids these days are like 170, 200 pounds, you know, and then there's guys that are just big and strong, like guys that are they're my weight or they weigh less than me, and they got big traps and arms.
Look at Danny.
Yeah,
Danny is a freaking animal.
Yeah, Sid is huge now.
Sid's really big now.
The guys are getting bigger. The guys are getting stronger. The younger guys too. So I can't just flex on them and beat them the whole time. So what I have to do is play a lot of defense first and be a lot smarter with energy conservation. Then once it gets, if they give me anything, like any opening presents itself that I could get a submission quick, then I'll do it. But a sweep becomes, or if I can get on top, control the pace more. But for the most part, though, I'm just kind of letting you work. And then if you come at me like crazy, then I'm going to match it. If you come at me real slow, then I'm going to match that too. And then if you really come at me crazy, I just try to almost play dead. Sometimes I even let people get positions. I just never let them get too deep to where I'm like, my arm is extended and then I'm like, I got to get out of this. It's too late. I just never give them totally anything, but I kind of let them work, pass my guard a little bit, get back to half guard. Like, it's hard to fight someone off, that's bigger than you and stronger and knows all your stuff, and they just keep coming forward. Sometimes I just play defense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you have to do that all the time. I get my defense real good, and then once they get a little tired, or if I hear them go, now I'm like, all right, now I'm going to start making my move. Now I'll start.
Unless they're young.
Sweep.
I competed. You held a team event, and I went against Liliana, who's amazing. Yeah. She's an amazing competitor, but she's so young. So when I competed against her, I don't know if it was the last time or the time before, I was getting tired, and I'm working with her, and I heard her take that big, huge, deep breath, and I'm like, I got it. She's finally freaking winded. And little did I know, no, she's 16 years old. Yeah,
they just recover. The kids just recover.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, right. I'm going to have to switch up my game plan if we meet again.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes with the young kids, if I'm bigger than them and I can hold them down a little bit and kind of use an old man strength.
Right.
That works. But then some of the kids are big now. Sid, he's lifting a lot of weight. He's throwing that around. Some of the young guys are just... and I can't just tap them so easy.
Right.
Before I used to just saw everybody off because they didn't know moves.
Yes.
Now everybody's so smart, Instagram, all this stuff, and, it's harder. I have to be smarter, when I'm rolling against them. Also, too, number one thing is I don't want to get injured, so I got to be real careful. So the best way to not get injured is not to be like, well, my leg was in a weird position. Guess what? Don't let my leg in a weird position.
You know what, though? I feel like the level of talent that comes through your gym, and again, this isn't, and it could just be because it's a primarily no gi place, and when I visit other gyms, they're primarily gi gyms, so it could be that my game is so wildly different, but and I don't think I'm some Asu jiu-jitsu player who just kills it wherever I go. I don't think that at all, but there is a very high level of talent that comes through the gym. I mean, the men, all the men are super, the men are great, but they're always great training partners. But the women who come through 10th Planet are high level competitors. Like
Just at our school, you mean?
That even come through to visit. Like Nicole Matthews will come visit. Chrissy Briggs will come visit. Like you see a level of talent at your gym. One time I actually even did a post of it because there was like so many different people there and like teaching and stuff. And I just had to do a post. I'm like, did I go to some super high expensive seminar? No, it's just like a typical Wednesday night at 10th Planet. Like it's like an awesome experience. Like the level that comes through.
Yeah, it's been that when I've been teaching that Wednesday class for a long time, so I think, people expect it to be, they expect people to be there, and you never know. Sometimes, like, hey, tonight there could be 15 people there, maybe a little lighter, whatever. Who knows? You never know. But then other days will come in, there'll be 30 deep, and it's like got professional MMA fighters in there training for fights. It's got people getting ready.
Well, that's the other amazing thing. Like, what's her name? Poison Ivy. I'm losing.
Yeah, Marissa.
Thank you so much, Marissa and Johnny. Like it's such a cool experience.
Tatiana.
Toddy, Toddy's amazing. It's very cool because like training jujitsu, so like they're MMA girls, right? And
Brittany Elkin.
Brittany's, forget about it. She's just like, all right, little girl, let me just fold you up now. But getting to try my jujitsu against a girl who's like an MMA girl, it's very, very cool because there's a different level of intensity.
Yeah. Different style.
It's a wildly different style. Like Toddy with her pressure passes and her driving, and Johnny, like Marissa, it's a different level of intensity, and it's very, very cool getting to try your jujitsu against somebody like that, like that's coming at you, because I feel like, it's a little bit more realistic, right? Mm-hmm. Like one of the reasons why my husband, Bill, why he wanted me to like get started is I do weddings. I'm leaving places with drunk men late at night. Right? So like whatever, nature is nature. So he liked that, like I would know what to do. So it's just like, nobody at the gym is like a D-bag or anything. They're always super respectful, but it's nice like being able to roll with guys, see what it feels like. And also just women, right? Like, in jiu-jitsu, there's no striking unless you're doing like combat jiu-jitsu, but it's just nice being able to like train with a girl who's got MMA style in her mind. Yeah. Right, because they fight differently. Yeah. Like their takedowns and they're just like their willingness to just come right at you. Yeah. It's like a different type of thing. Around.
Yeah. How about now we get a lot of foreign exchange MMA fighters. So, with Makovsky teaching there, Ricky, those guys are doing a great job. But now we get a lot of guys that see the facility and they know what we got going on. Right. And they're like, okay, where am I going to choose? Am I going to go to Philly? Maybe. Am I going to New York? And then they're like, actually, you know what? Bethlehem, PA has a college that I want to go to, or a job in this Lehigh Valley. And then they see our place and they're like, wow, these guys, and then they start doing some research and they're like, oh, they got something going on. I might have to go down there. So we got a guy from Italy. Did you meet that guy?
No.
He was there for a while. He was at the school. He was training. He was living with Johnny, actually.
Oh, really?
And he didn't speak any English.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and when I rolled with him, it was great. He's good. He just got his black belt. Oh, I didn't realize he was going to be that good. I was like, God damn, this guy's tough, And I see all of our guys like, then there's another dude in there right now who's from, I forget where he's from, and he's a big animal. He's like, he's definitely fresh, but I mean, he's like, got tons of potential. Dude's already jacked. So we're getting people from other countries and stuff with that.
Well, that's like,
it gives us such a different opportunity to train with all these different people. And I think that's one of the reasons why Grace and some of these guys got so good, is because, I know I'm a good teacher, and I know the other guys, and I don't want to sound like a jerk, because I know I've been doing it for a long time, and the other guys are doing a great job. But it's not just me or one guy or two guys or three guys. It's the, mass sum of like, we've been just
100%.
Giving her a million opportunities. Like I'm wearing a John Jock hat. Like Grace got us into, train with John Jock. She's had experience.
That seminar.
Remember when he rolled with her for 15 minutes or whatever? And then we had JT Torres come through the school. We're having the finisher summit again. Not again, but we're going to have that finisher summit. Like we're going to have Greg Satters and Big JT. Oh, those guys are on to something. We kind of want to see what they're up to. Right. Fine, let's pay them and have them teach a seminar at the school. People, like, I know that I've been able to let go of my ego a lot, because I'm just like, hey, I want to have, I've always, Craig Jones, he's another guy, we'll pay him, get him in here.
Right.
I want to see what he's teaching. I want to see what he's up to. I want to learn everything, and then I'll spit it back to you and see what, we can come up with.
That's what I noticed that's different about your school versus other schools. Like some like very, very traditional, like, not saying all Gracie schools are like this, but some very, very traditional Gracie schools, like they're not like big proponents of, like, at least some of the ones around me, like, go to other gyms, go visit. Like, they're very much like, this is our thing and you're going to train here. And one of the things that I really liked when I started training at your gym, like before I officially made that my home gym, was you guys were always so encouraging. Like, yeah, if you see something amazing that somebody else did, bring it in. Like, you were never like, I'm the guy and nobody else knows anything. You're like, jiu-jitsu's always evolving, and if I can see something someone's doing and bring it back to my gym, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I'm going to teach all moves. I was just talking about a guy on Instagram about that the other day, the jack of all trades. Like, I'm going to be able to teach you all moves. When you roll with me, it might be an entirely different experience, because some of those moves I don't do, physically when I do them. But I feel as an instructor, I got to be able to teach all moves. And I've always been letting the students allow room, is what I wanted to say, for creativity. And, that kind of brings it back. Like, in your job, you get to be creative, but then in your jiu-jitsu, I want you to be creative too. I'm not going to tell you, no, that won't work. But sometimes it's like, hey, listen, like, that might not be the best option, but then sometimes, now it's even crazier, is like, some people I know that they're being so creative that they're putting themselves into a box where they have to be in this, where you could just, hey, remember, there are a lot of other styles and moves out there as well. Don't put yourself into a certain situation. I wanted to always be able to do everything. If I see a guy that has no leg locks, I'm going to go leg locks, and I want to be able to do that. If I see the guy's a really good leg locker, I want to be able to shut all that down and take his back and choke him out. The guy can punch, I'm going to take him down. The guy can kick, I'm going to punch. I always wanted to be able to just, give the other, oh, this guy wants to wrestle, I'm pulling guard, stuff like that. So
you think that's why that's helped your gym? Because I've visited other gyms, and I'm not the only one person to say this. Like, many, many people have said, like, your gym has achieved a level of success that's like you won. You won. Like, you have achieved a level of success that most gyms have never achieved. Like, you think that's part of it?
Part of it is still having an ego, not having an open mind. Even I remember before I was even, having the school, people didn't want me to do moves that they think I saw on the internet or whatever. It's like, you know what, man, it's a crazy market out there. You got to be, I was always looking through videos and, oh, that's something, let's try that. Here's a heel hook or whatever. I'm always combing it. And if I don't, like tonight, I'll come in there and we're going to be working on, like, Renee is a big matchup coming up on who's number one. He's going to be facing
Did
the guy.
He get it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so he's
my
gonna
gosh, I'm so happy for him.
I don't know if this won't come out till next week anyways, but, and the guy's really good at a couple of things. So tonight we're going to work on, defense. We're going to work on some defense to those specific things. And, that's not my bread and butter. It's not what I would go for. But even when I go with like a purple or a blue belt, a lot of times, sometimes, if the guy's not real competitive and I can get a better roll with him, like I'm just, got way more experience, I'll try to emulate another guy I know. Like, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to go out there and try to be like this guy and see if I could try to pull his moves off.
Right.
And sometimes I get burned. And believe me, I've like messed up and been like, oh shit, I shouldn't have got triangled right there or whatever happens. But that's how, and I feel like that has helped us a lot. Yeah, because I'm willing to not just go to the bread and butter of my stuff all the time. I have to be willing to teach you everything and show you all things. And then you tell me, you're going to, between your body type, the way you move, the way your brain works. Like, some people just become like a leg lock button up. Why? Where they only want to do leg locks. I don't know. It's something up here. That's why.
Well, that's what I like so much about it. The gym that I started at was like a relatively small gym. And the people that did it, they taught like certain things that they were good at, obviously. And I'm very flexible. So I Googled open hips, and that's, I came upon 10th Planet, blah, 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 blah. So like your gym, like you have very high levels of instructors that are teaching along the same path, but like getting to that path in a slightly different way. Yeah. And they all teach roughly the same thing, but in different ways. And it's like, I've had one instructor, like I'll have one instructor teach me takedowns 1,000 times, and I tell Jules this. Jules, one of your instructors,
he's got a different style.
Jules is the only person in the entire world who could teach me this one takedown. I've had like 5 different people try to teach it to me. The way Jules taught it it doesn't matter. It was like a fireman's carrot, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Jules, I don't know what you did it.
Yeah. You just never know what you're going to get from somebody, you know? And that's why it's cool to have all those different guys there, because it's like really opens us up as a team, and it allows
But like they're
guys,
all on the same path.
Yeah.
It's not like everybody's got their own thing going on. They're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're working on that big time too together as a team, being like, yo, here's what we really need to work on. And it's easy too. We see the tournament and you see what guys need to work on. You're like, okay, this is like what's going on in the game now. So we all got to make sure we know how to do false reaps and buggy chokes. And then we also got to know how to defend that shit. And then we also got to know how to, you know, use your own ideas and not just believe, you know, not just do copycat league and do what everything everyone else does. Because I'm still going to come at them with my stuff, but I got to know of all those other things.
Right.
So that way it doesn't, you come out, you lose the match and then come walking out to me or come home when I'm not at everything. And they're just like, and I'm like, oh, sorry, we didn't know that one. Like, that's fail.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, we got to know, Big Uncle Zach's got to know them all. I got to know them all. So that way, if you're like, hey, what about this? What about this? We can go back and forth on it. But yeah, we could probably talk for hours, but I actually got to get going because I got to make it to class on time. But I think, you know, I definitely, you know, love to have you back on.
I'd love
and
it.
I appreciate it. Like, yeah, talking with someone else who's, you know, in the same type of business, but not exactly the same business is great. You know, talking about time management and all that different stuff. And, you know, we'll just keep doing it. You know,
Love
and I
it.
think people definitely, you know, a lot of the most people say to me, there's like, keep talking about business stuff, you know, because some people are just in the infancy. They want to open up their own business. They just have no idea how. So
Just got to do it.
yeah, you just got to do it. Listen to us. Just do it.
Just
you know?
do it.
Us, Nike, Mike, everybody, you know, you just said one day you're just like, you know what? F it. I'm running it.
You know what? It's
Do
like
it.
society
Do
beats
it.
you down. Society tells you have to work a 9 to 5 and make somebody else rich. And like once you realize like I can do my own thing. Like I always say if somebody else can do it, why can't I?
Yeah, if I'm doing it, if I'm out here doing it, and that's why I know I've inspired a lot of people because they look at me and they're like, that idiot can do it. I'm in there, you know. But thank you, Deanna, for coming.
Thank you.
Shout out to follow her on Instagram, Cherryville Photography. And yeah, you got a great social media presence. You know, it looks good. So make sure you give her a follow, and we'll have her back soon. Thank you, guys. Peace.
I believe it.
Never Again Radio. Get into it, brother.